Everybody, I'm back! And you know that I know that you know why I'm back. RWBY Ice Queendom just dropped on Crunchyroll. Now, I was not expecting this. This is completely out of left field for me because of the hiatus and all that sort of jazz. I haven't really been keeping up. But I just kind of assumed once everything kind of caught back up and got back to normal, we would be seeing RWBY on our usual viewing places. For me, it's Crunchyroll. So when I turned on Crunchyroll today, I saw RWBY and I'm like, oh my god, they're back. I didn't hear that the hiatus was over. They're back. No, they're not back. It's something different. And different sometimes can be good. Oh yes, this is very good. But not in the same sort of good that we're used to. It's a different kind of good. It's an anime good. It's the hand-drawn good. Mostly hand-drawn good. RWBY Ice Queendom, for those of you coming out of left field like me, is fully hand-drawn anime. It's not a CG. It is your traditional anime. I don't know how other to explain it because I don't want to say that regular RWBY is not anime. We have so many series coming out of Japan that are CG that are considered anime. So RWBY itself fits into that genre. RWBY itself is anime, but it is not the hand-drawn traditional anime like this is. And this has its own strengths, but it also has its own weaknesses. Let's get to it. So, first, strength. I love that they are finally kind of going back and pulling a Star Wars. Certain shows like Mandalorian or the more recent Obi-Wan Kenobi has taken the Star Wars mythos and said, hey, we have these holes that could be expanded on. Like these breaks in time that we just never talked about. Why not do that for RWBY? And this is done that and more. I love the fact that we've gotten episodes that are basically the trailers right off the bat. Right off the bat, we have what do we have there? We have the white trailer and the black trailer as just part of an episode. Just taking that little thread that's been all balled up and just stretching it out and making it something that could be woven into something more. I believe now. As I said before, I haven't done any previous research. I'm just kind of going off the cuff right now. From what I've seen, and obviously the title of the show, I am guessing that this show is going to be mostly focused on Weiss, but also Weiss's relationships in RWBY. So it's Weiss in relation to RWBY, Weiss in relation to Blake, Weiss in relation to Yang, whatever you want to call those ships. No, not talking about that. But that's why I believe that we focused mostly on the black and the white trailer. You could say you maybe had a little bit of the red trailer with like RWBY being at the her mother's grave, but that was also, I believe, in the show as well, so you can't really say that's the red trailer. But I would still love to see an animated version of the red and yellow trailer. So we have an extension of those. And then we go pretty much to the end of Volume 1, right up to meeting Penny at the end. I'm sorry, I'm going to be jumping back and forth because, again, I'm just improvising this whole thing. This isn't like the old days where I used to write a giant script and do all this editing. This is just a one-shotter. So, in 3 episodes, we get the entirety of Volume 1, which, if you think back to it, Volume 1 is like, what? Each episode is like 6 to like 10 minutes each. So if the anime was over an hour long, yeah, we got a lot more out of this anime's first 3 episodes than we did for the original series first volume, which in some ways, again, was great. In some ways, not. So, great. Let's talk about great first. Great is just hand-drawn animation. Lost art in some forms. And I believe this is Studio Shaft doing the show. And oh Oh, I could tell. So for me, Studio Shaft came to my attention with Madoka Magica, the cute little magical girl show until it wasn't. And you can see that. So portions of this is going into a more emotional take of the girls in RWBY. I I've noticed the cutaways of certain characters, like facial expressions, and even some spoilers of the new Grim dreams or the illusions that it puts in. Like you see the how to say it, like the doppelgangers of the characters that have been infected, like Jean or Weiss, kind of like hiding in the alleyway, and they have their like face partially hidden, and some of the facial expressions, like the real dark facial expressions from those like nightmares and that, and it really reminds me of Magical Madoka or Madoka Magica, whatever, Pulu Pula Magic Madoka. Hey, I'm back butchering names again. Yeah, that's me. But especially when we get into Jean's dream. Here I am jumping from like episode 1 all the way to episode 3 already. Um, Watching his manifestation of his nightmares, the manifestation of his nightmares, like him in the bunny onesie, which, like, you know, hey, props to you for being like brave enough to wear that in like a school dorm. But watching it sort of like grow on him and literally seeing him shrink like into like a scared child, and having the bunny ears from the onesie become bunny ears on his head, sort of, I guess it's supposed to represent that he's like, you know, scared little bunny. But that reminded me so much of the witch space. I forget what they called it in Magical Madoka, but when the witches take over a space, they warp reality and make it a twisted version of what the former magical girl, who's been turned into a witch, used to believe in. So for the witch that killed Mammy, the girl with the guns, she was, I believe, a hospital patient that loved sweets. So we saw like little dancing syringes and muffins flying around. When Sammy, the girl in blue, forgive me, but when she turned into a witch, it became a scene of an orchestra because she was in love with the boy that wanted to become a violinist. Oh, that's gonna bug me what her name is. Tell me in the comments below. I'm gonna lose sleep over forgetting her name. Um, but she was the one that had the rapier. She was dressed in blue. She was in love with the boy with the violin. But moving on, I just kind of wanted to highlight how Shaft has had that experience, and I kind of believe that's possibly why the story is going the way it is. Because in anime, and especially when you're sort of experimenting with like stretching out an already established plot, you're gonna need to find something else aside from like another big bad that needs to be defeated. Going for the emotional storyline, like, you know, some of their insecurities, is a very interesting story topic, and something that I think that Shaft as an animation studio has as a strength. Um, Something else they have as a strength, guys, that Nevermore fight scene in the Emerald Forest. Ooh, just like that series of maybe several hundred, several thousand frames of Ruby running up the cliffside with the Nevermore pinned behind her scythe. Just a sense of intensity and a sense of speed. Just I'm doing so many chef's kisses in this video. That's 10 chef kisses out of 10 for that scene. I loved it. It reminded me of so many other fight scenes in so many other animes, from like Gurren Lagann to even like Dragon Ball Z. Just like you get that sense of speed in a hand drawn anime that sometimes you can't get as well in a CG. Now, I've been praising this, praising it up and down, but while we're talking about the Nevermore, yes, it's me. Come on, guys, you know me. I'm going to nitpick, and I have a big nitpick. I understand that they're trying to make this their own thing. This is their version of RWBY, but I got a big issue with the sound design. I really do. The guns don't sound as impactful. The swords don't sound like metal hitting bone or metal hitting metal. Like the scene where Blake cuts through robots, or cuts. I was making this motion because I was going to say the clasp of the train when she's about to leave Adam. It's just not a impactful metal sound. This was my same complaint when they brought back Berserk. And it's funny because this is my complaint when they brought back Berserk, when Berserk was switched from hand drawn to CG. The problem with that sound design in that anime I found was, like, you know, Guts is walking around with a giant ass slab of metal. You can't even call this thing a sword. Well, yes, you can call it a sword, but he's really walking around with a steel girder. And it needs to sound like a giant piece of metal hitting things or hitting other metal. And that is probably my main complaint with RWBY Ice Queendom so far, is sound design with the weapons, sound design with any sort of explosives, so gunfire, and the music. Maybe this is just my fanboyism leaking through. I love the music in RWBY. I don't think I've actually like rewatched the series in several months, but those songs are still on my Spotify playlist. They are still on my phone for when I don't have internet to go on my Spotify playlist, especially the volumes 1, 2, and 3 soundtrack. They never leave my phone. Ever. I love those songs. I Burn, Red Like Roses, like Mirror Mirror. I just named the songs from the trailers, but you know what I mean. Like, they're great songs. They're amazing songs. They are emotional, impactful, and not that they belong there, but I believe, especially when it came to the reenactment of the trailers, or even the Nevermore fight, Nevermore. It needed vocals. I think that's the main part right there for that one fight scene, and like also the reenactments of the trailers. Those songs needed vocals. Like, I think it needs something more than just your basic sort of like background orchestrated music. You can get away with that with a lot of other like animes, because like you're building up to something in a lot of those, like, you know, 12 episode, 26 episode, 28 episode animes. And I understand that that's a formula with a lot of those animes. You have your cool intro song, you have your cool outro song, and then you only get the lyrical song when shit's about to go down come episode 11 or episode 12. But RWBY's not like that. And maybe, again, maybe that's just my nostalgia talking, maybe that's just my fanboyism talking, but that was my major complaint. Sound design, lack of vocals in the music. I'm gonna have to really stretch to find anything else. Aside from that, I really enjoy. I'm sorry, I'm bouncing back and forth. I'm going from things I love to things I dislike, and I'm going back to things I love because I think I might be out of things I dislike. So hey, that might be a new one for one of my videos. Only like 2 things I dislike: sound design and music design. But going back to things I like some of the character designs, or should I say like character redesigns, I really enjoy. For characters that aren't main characters, Ozpin looks great. I kind of like how he's a little bit skinnier. He looks almost a little bit more frail, if you could like believe that. Maybe that's just my own bias, because like anime characters are usually like skinnier, than what like North American CG characters would be like. But I did find Ozpin to look a little more frail, but I believe as a character, that's how he should be, because like we all know the story of RWBY, he's eventually going to be on his way out if the anime goes that far. So him being older, or like seeming older than he actually is, or maybe he is actually older than he seems, whatever. I think that fits him. Glinda, was she that mean originally? I think she was originally that mean. Her design's pretty much the same. I really enjoyed her. They should have let RWBY eat the cookies. What? I wanted to see if she actually used her thumbs, her opposable thumbs, to grab the cookies. If you remember one of my very first videos, that was one of my major complaints. She just like force magnetized the cookies onto her hands. I'm teasing. Cardin, we got a quick look at Cardin. He kind of looks like a cool bully that like eventually like turns around and like joins the good guys. I would love if that's like a twist that happens in the anime. That was kind of something I was hoping for, and he did get a little bit of that during like the fall of Beacon, where you saw him like going after some bots, like parallel to like Ironwood. Oh my god, Ironwood. Will we see Ironwood? We saw Penny. Oh god, Penny. Oh, Penny. I just and Swirly's heart grew 3 sizes that day. I was watching with my wife, and we were watching, and Penny all of a sudden jumped into the scene. And I wasn't expecting it. I actually was thinking that they might even cut her out, because I had no idea what the show was going to bring. They were in town. Like, I wasn't expecting them to do all of Volume 1 in the first 3 episodes. Yes, it's totally possible that they could do all that in an hour and 5 minutes. But suddenly seeing our wonderful android with a heart, it just like, there was a sudden squeal in the room. And no, it wasn't my wife, it was me. I was so happy to see her. And something that I had to make a mental note of, which will I guess we'll transition into, is the voice acting. Penny's voice actress in the Japanese is adorable and perfect in every which way for this rendition of her. I believe I read somewhere that the voice actresses and actors, or at least the main characters, is the same voice actresses from the Japanese dub of main series RWBY. I guess we're gonna have to call it main series RWBY and Ice Queendom RWBY. So I guess a lot of people already know that. I'm hoping it's the same Penny from the original series as this series. I probably won't rewatch the original series in Japanese. I am actually really looking forward to rewatching this anime with the English voice actors. Not because I think that they're any better, it's a tradition that I do with certain shows. My number one show I do that with is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. I watch them all in Japanese first, and then I go back and watch them in English, because I love to see the differences. Another list is Ranma 1/2. Yes, I love my 80s animes. Trigun. God, watching Trigun in Japanese and then watching it in English is something that like is, I think, is only indicative to like being able to watch anime in both languages. Like maybe putting like a few weeks or a month in between them, it just kind of like introduces like a zest to it. And that's something that I'm really looking forward to when they do the English versions of RWBY. I'm going on forever. We're only 3 episodes into this. I just wanted to kind of voice my excitement. I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do with this story. As I said when I was talking about Studio Shaft and their experience with Magical Madoka, I am really interested in seeing the emotional aspect of this. Like, RWBY has always been that, hey, cool action show with cool weapons. Hey, it's also a gun. Ah! But now we're getting into the emotional stuff. Now we're getting into the dirty. No, whoa. Not that dirty. Emotional. I'm excited. I've been hoping for something like this, and I think a lot of the community's been hoping for something like this too. Like, God, how many people have been writing fan fictions that have been filling in the blanks about what these characters have been thinking? Especially when it comes to, like, come on, you have high school kids that are in damn near apocalyptic settings. You have to wonder what their thoughts are on this, especially the dark thoughts of like insecurity in that, which we already saw them tease with Jean. Jean's nightmare, I believe, was the foreshadowing of what we're going to see with Weiss. We're going to see things inside of Weiss's head, and we're going to learn things from inside of Weiss's head. Like maybe something about Weiss's family that we didn't know about before. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a moment, but let's go back. Have we ever talked about Weiss's reason for hating the Faunus so much? Yes. She is the heir of the Schnee Dust Company. She has like financial reasons to care why the Faunus and the White Fang are messing with her family's business, but she seems to take it a bit more personally, especially in Ice Queendom. Now, she mentioned funerals. Funerals of board members, of like former CEOs, but could there be more to that? Could there be more to like this hatred that's there? Because at the end of Ice Queendom, you have the dream Grim, basically like, but you've always hated the Faunus, haven't you? Now, is that just the Grim kind of inceptioning the idea into her, or is there an even deeper reason why she has these feelings that is going to be explored in this anime? And will that reason become canon? Is this just a side story? Is that going to be staying on? That's another good question. But I believe there might be a long lost friend or something to that respect that might be the reason why for these deep-seated feelings. But hey, that's for next time. Thank you everyone for coming out. For those of you that watched, I just wanted to kind of get this all off my chest because we were sitting watching this and the wife and I were talking afterwards and basically both throwing ideas back and forth, and it just kind of got my brain just kind of spinning like crazy, like, oh my God, I've got so much hype in my head and I can't get it out. So we will see if this continues, if I keep on doing videos like this. As you can tell, this is quick and dirty, just me getting my IDs out there. This was fun. I'm glad to talk to you guys about this. Please leave your comments below. And till next time, good night, everybody.